source.
Of unarmed National Guard personnel who are trained in crowd control. Okay, let's join KIRO Television in Seattle and listen in.
Downtown Seattle goes into effect.
And we want to say at this point that we will continue to stay on top of this story. We will bring you all the latest information, all you need to know about your day and your job and your travel to and from the city of Seattle. And so stay tuned all through the evening and then first thing tomorrow morning.
Again, you have been watching continuing coverage of KIRO 7 Eyewitness News, the breaking story all day long. The World Trade Organization meeting in Seattle, those meetings postponed and in some cases canceled altogether by the civil disturbances and the protests, many of which, we must tell you, many of which were peaceful, just as they had been planned, but some of which, some few, but they did a lot of damage, and they ruined it for just about everybody else. And now the question remains, how are we going to continue with this conference tomorrow?
Okay, first of all, we want to start at 7 o'clock. It is time for the curfew to take effect as the mayor declares a civil emergency in downtown Seattle. You see it on your map there. Denny Way is the northern border, I-5 to the east, the Water to the west, and Yesler to the south. That area of downtown, you are not permitted outside of a building unless you have a WTO credential tonight. That in order to prevent rioting, looting, or any violence in the darkness.
You better have a good excuse if you are coming into the city. Neil Karlinski has a good excuse. He's been following this story since early on. Neil, from your location, have things calmed down there?
Yeah, Steve, they have calmed down, and interestingly, because they've calmed down, I am on Pine looking down the hill across the ramp at the police, and because they've calmed down, you have a lot of these protesters who've just started milling their way back towards the police. One of them now just threw down a round metal trash can, and he's rolling it down the hill towards the police. Fortunately, it's dented up so badly it won't roll well, and it's stopped. You know, and you have some interesting contrast out here. While all this is going on, police in riot gear, launching tear gas canisters at people and all sorts of things going on in the streets, you have traffic that has now started to move through here. And you have people who stop at red lights when there's complete anarchy around them, and they wait for the light to turn green. So you have these little tastes of normalcy amidst this strange scene on these streets that we're so familiar with that look so different to us right now. And again, as I'm standing here talking to you, I'm just being overrun by more people, not running, just walking, slowly sauntering, making their way back down the hill, back towards the police here on Pine. The police, again, they haven't moved up as far as we've been able to tell.
We're seeing, and it looks as though they are, in fact, walking back toward the police officers, right?
Yeah, they are. I'm with them and sort of making their way back. The police, as far as I could tell, and you probably can see something, they haven't moved up towards the protesters. You know, as far as they're concerned, they seem to be able to fire their tear gas quite a good distance, so they can disperse this crowd quite a long way, and they have, without having to move up. The only problem with that is every time the tear gas subsides, these people keep making their way back down towards the police. And most of them now, they're not yelling anything, and we don't really see any of those signs, or not many of the signs anymore. They're just sort of standing around. They're just defying the police by being here.
Neil, hang on for just a moment. We see now more motorcycle police officers moving up 3rd Avenue past Rainier Square. This may be a motorcade of some kind because we see a limo or something up forward. Here we go. The police now are firing tear gas once again to push the demonstrators back. Neil?
Yeah, we are now running the opposite direction again. It's the ping-pong match that's been ongoing here. Just as everyone was sauntering away, as I was telling you, now the police have started marching forward and firing tear gas. And now the standard runaway rule is in effect, and everyone's running back up Pine away from the tear gas, covering their mouths with scarves or coats or handkerchiefs or whatever they have, and stopping every few steps to sort of look back and watch. So as I stop to look back and watch, now at Pine and Melrose, I'm looking back and I see a whole cloud of tear gas. And through the cloud, I can't see the police too well, but it appears that they're standing still. Can you see them?
We can't, Neil. They are standing still. They have moved their lineup, however, a little bit further across the overpass, again, to push these demonstrators back up toward Capitol Hill. The group has gotten smaller, though, right? The demonstration, the number of protesters has gotten somewhat smaller.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's gotten smaller, and the back lines of these people, if you will, have really thinned out. It used to be that there was sort of a front bunch engaging the police and then a huge crowd behind sort of watching and enjoying the spectacle, but now they have really thinned out. That's not to say the streets are empty. There's still a lot of people here watching. However, they are mostly on the sidewalks and gathered around in small groups, and it's not the massive group that we saw before.
Well, it appears as though this is then the line that the police will draw. They will say, we will stay on this side, you stay on that side, we can wait you out. Maybe more importantly, we have a few weapons at our disposal that can make it uncomfortable for you if you don't eventually disperse, and that, of course, being the tear gas and the rest. But kind of an eerie-looking sight as we're looking from our camera shot up the hill. That is, I believe, the funeral home up there at the top of the hill, and the shadows of protesters, the spotlights being shown on them from police vehicles and the rest. And now the police look like they are on the move up the hill in your direction, Neil.
Yeah, I'm standing, well, I guess you're probably looking at the crowd that I am in, and when we look over a couple of shoulders at the police, and now they appear to be standing still, and I could be wrong about this, but it does seem that they are in greater numbers down there.
Mark Hendricks with Jeff Gianola in Portland. Isn't this an amazing image? Seattle looks like a battle zone. We'll take a break right now, and we'll come back to the live coverage of the confrontation there. Keep it right here.
You know what ticks me off? Well, a lot. But the main thing is a phony. That's why I like these Arby's chicken fingers. That's all white meat. They're the genuine article, none of those puny processed nuggets.
Try Arby's real all-white meat chicken fingers and try something else unique. Arby's new appetizers. Cheesy mozzarella sticks, zesty jalapeno bites, and crunchy onion petals. Arby's new sidekickers. There's no other fast food like them.
Ladies and gentlemen, in less than 30 seconds, a monster truck will crush a car filled with New England clam chowder. But first, this word from our sponsor.
There's an old Celtic legend the elders did say, you'll find something large down Beaverton way. Thomas and Demarrow.
I love advertising. What?
Now, even in the middle of winter, I can grow fresh herbs indoors with my Chia Herb Garden. The Chia Herb Garden growing kit contains everything I need. And what I like best is this natural Chia growing sponge. No more messy potting soil. It holds just the right amount of air and moisture to help my herbs grow nice and healthy. Chia Herb Garden, the perfect gift. I bought one for my mother, my friend, my neighbor, and myself.
Chia Herb Garden's available at Fred Meyer, Rite Aid, High School, and Walgreens.
Even with its impressive power, remarkable handling, and legendary capability, Jeep Grand Cherokee can still be leased for just $359 a month. Maybe that's why everyone's going out of their way to get a look at it. The $359 a month Grand Cherokee lease. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
Tonight's sports report on KOIN 6 News is brought to you by your local Jeep dealers.
And this is continuing coverage from KOIN 6 News of what's going on in Seattle. Here is the latest. At 7 o'clock, curfew was declared in a large section of downtown Seattle. Police are still working to clear the streets there. They had said arrests would be made beginning at 7 o'clock, but no sign of that so far. These images from our sister affiliate, KIRO in Seattle. Let's listen in.
Right now, this bonfire is very peaceful down here. The group is circling around it. There are police officers in SWAT gear basically lining all the streets on every street corner around us. At this point in time, they are not doing anything about this group that is violating the curfew at this point in time. But I just can't imagine they're going to allow this to continue to stay. The bonfire was started when a dumpster was turned over in the middle of the street. They lighted the garbage on fire, and basically they're just hanging out around it right now. They're not really saying anything or chanting. They're just basically trying to start the fire. And now they're starting to chant because I'm talking to you on the phone.
What are they saying?
they're chanting sensationalism, and basically we're just describing the scene down here, the bonfire in the middle of the road, and the protesters that are violating the civil emergency, the curfew.
Megan, is it safe to say that everyone who is downtown right now knows there is a curfew?
That I can't completely answer, because a lot of people do know it. Many people, you know, who knows? This is such a large crowd. I don't know if they've gotten word about that or not. What I do know is that these folks aren't going anywhere.
How many people do you think are amassed around you?
There are several hundred here, right in the intersection, right in the middle of the road of 6th and Stewart.
Okay, so now we have several hundred there at 6th and Stewart. We have several hundred heading into or standing there at the base of Capitol Hill on the far side of the freeway that we've been watching for some time. So there were thousands and thousands of people earlier today. We can say that most have headed home at this hour, but there are still those who hang on, and as Neil is saying, waiting for action. You know, they've got their video cameras. This is kind of fun for them to be where it's at. Yeah. Let's go to Deborah Horn right now and find out what's happening at her location. Debbie?
Yes, I'm here, Susan. There's the third canister just went up over this crowd on Pine Street. Now, they are just about at the intersection, which you know, at the overpass. They're a little bit of a distance from us, but there were four. That's the fourth canister I've seen in the last 30 seconds or so. So they are still trying to disperse the crowd. Where I am, it's as peaceful as it is where Richard Thompson is in terms of people. Now people are out walking their dogs and the like, the people who live here, because there are no protesters in our general vicinity. But they are clearly trying to clear them out of that area by the just at the overpass. But I see the canisters have stopped. The air is getting thick with the smoke again. And the police, however, are not moving, and that has been their tactic. They either move swiftly in a group and then stop, or they don't move at all. And right now, they aren't moving at all.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Now let's go to Chris Laguerre, a little bit closer to the scene. Chris.
It's a pattern that just keeps being repeated here. The police officers are obviously holding that line at the overpass. As soon as the protesters tend to drift back down the hill, that's when the canisters go up. 2 or 3 just up now and lobbed back by the protesters. One of them went out there with a baseball bat to try to bat it back, most of them just kicking them away. The officers are now advancing up the hill. It's interesting. There's a little place here called Machiavelli with a sign out front that says, "Small family-run business, no turtles. Harms here," with people inside the door looking out, just trying to protect their business, obviously, and keeping the windows closed for the most part every time the gas comes by, so that that pepper spray won't actually drift into the restaurant itself. The officers have advanced, it looks like, maybe 50 feet and stopped again. And once again, the protesters have started going down the hill. So, you know, you can almost expect what will happen next. Another canister or 2 or 3. They usually come in 2 or 3 going up. They're bright, they're burning, and you can see them being lobbed at you like fireworks on the 4th of July. They hit the ground. Suddenly there is this cloud, and then when the cloud starts to disperse, a protester rushes in and either kicks it or bats it away or picks it up and tosses it back towards the police. It's a repeating pattern. I don't know how long it's going to continue, but now we have still several hundred people just milling around here at Melrose and Pine, not dispersing, just hanging out in the area. In the meantime, there's traffic that's trying to go through here. There are no officers up here directing traffic, so if people are trying to get someplace, they're doing it.
We have a move going, Chris. The police are moving on the crowd now, moving eastbound. They've taken now yet another 50 feet or so. Neil, where are you?
We're running in that direction.
Hello?
Yes, Neil, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. It was a bit of a stampede here. The police, as you may be able to see, are definitely making their way up the hill. We got a stampede of people running. No new lobs of tear gas, although I'm sure one is going to come our way any second now. And, yeah, one guy was saying that with all these cars there. It's an interesting point is the police are charging this big crowd. Traffic is going through. Traffic is going through at the intersection where I am at Pine and Melrose. So police are continuing to march forward. Here they come. And, of course, the large crowd, which you can hear all around me, is continuing to move backwards. Amidst all this, there are some regular people out driving to do whatever they're going to do, go to the grocery store or whatnot, who are trying to cross on Melrose, cross Pine, and they are now amidst a crowd of tear gas and advancing Seattle police officers. And people, of course, are continuing to move back here as police continue to launch more gas, and protesters, of course, as Chris described, continue to throw it back at the police. And the police have now drawn a line at Melrose and Pine, right near the funeral home you've mentioned before. The police have stopped there. I have a feeling it's not going to be for long.
All right, Neil, you stay with that, and then we'll see if the police are going to, at some point, wade into this crowd and try to disperse them that way, or whether they just continue to move that line eastward toward Capitol Hill in hopes that these people will then at some point start to scatter, dissipate, and head out. But the noise that we hear in the background and the smoke that we see flying from the tear gas canisters being released tells us that there's still a lot of fight left in that group up there on Capitol Hill.
There certainly is, and we've gotten a call from a viewer who's very familiar with tear gas, and this is interesting information for anyone who even lives up here where they're getting gassed, is that stuff...
And Pine, you can hear the crowd chanting. The biggest cheers go up when someone picks up one of those canisters and lobs it back at the officers. That's what most of the cheering is about behind me. The officers are back at about Melrose, standing their ground there. Someone just lobbed a bottle or something at the officers. I saw that go through the air. In the meantime, I think what strikes me is this is such a different scene from the downtown area. Here's a couple of people on a motorcycle, sightseers. They just came up to see what was going on. They stopped at the intersection. There are a lot of curious people trying to find out what's exactly happening. I had somebody come next to me and said this is not a pretty sight. So we're seeing a lot more civilians getting caught up in this who are either just coming, they're looky-loos coming to see what's going on, or they happen to be conducting some kind of business in the area, and they run the risk of getting a good whiff of pepper spray if they stay in the area. It's still very much an active police presence here, and still very much a situation where the protesters are facing off with them and challenging them, and every time they go back down the hill towards those officers, it's only a matter of time before the canisters keep coming up this way. It looks like the officers are now retreating a little bit, again backing down the hill a little bit, and the chanting has begun again up here. I don't know if you can hear it. Listen to this.
Chris, what are they saying?
Can you hear that? It's saying back downtown, back downtown. That's what they're yelling as they continue to go back downtown towards the police officers.
All right, Chris, stay on top of that, if you will, and we continue to monitor the developments around the rest of the city. Again, we are more than 15 minutes into the curfew, so there should not be people, demonstrators at least, in the curfew area. They risk being arrested.
And there are some problems developing at 6th and Stewart. Here's Megan.
Susan, yes, they're ransacking right now the Starbucks coffee shop. They have broken all the windows into the store. They are going inside at this point in time. The bonfire is just kitty-corner to this. I don't know what sparked this crowd to all of a sudden turn violent, because they were so peaceful about 5 minutes ago. But now they are going in the store. They are looting the store. They are breaking windows from the inside and the out. They are drawing graffiti all over it. We have the police helicopters shining a spotlight down on this crowd right now. I can't understand why the police officers just across the street are standing and watching all of this take place. But they are at this point in time. Again, there are several hundred people down here, and it seems to be only a handful or so that are breaking the windows at this point in time. But they are very unruly, and there's the police helicopter, so I can only imagine that officers will be converging on this scene very shortly.
How many police officers on the scene there?
You know, across the street, they're near the Westin. We're right across the street from the Westin, and they are lining the streets all along Stewart here, up to 5th Avenue. I can see them just standing there watching all this take place. So I don't know whether they just haven't received orders. They know what's going on.
Well, my guess is that I believe that hotel is also going to be the headquarters of the president. There are a number of delegates who are staying there, and at some point, they have to be relieved from their positions to be able to come over. My guess is you don't leave your position if you are stationed as a police officer, especially protecting in the protection of a group of people, to go over and try to stop this.
I tell you, for viewers, folks at home, law-abiding citizens watching the coverage all day today, this is the most frustrating thing, is seeing vandals breaking into buildings, destroying property, and watching police at other locations stay where they are and no one coming to the scene of this activity. It is criminal activity that the police, perhaps it is their strategy, have decided they are not going to move in against. And Megan has seen it over and over and over again today, and it is very frustrating for the folks at home to watch, and they're wondering why aren't police acting.
Well, there's the police helicopter now looking down on the situation with the spotlight, locating the demonstrators, again, 6th and Stewart near the Westin Hotel. Police officers who have been stretched to their limit all day long, right now moved up toward Capitol Hill, trying to push demonstrators out of the city core and trying to get them to disperse. Now here are other officers standing by in downtown Seattle, probably awaiting the order to move in and get this latest demonstration to break up. But you're right, civil disobedience, absolutely no excuse. The demonstrations are over, the meetings are over for today. This is wanton disregard for people's property. These are the people who will be getting arrested. Megan, where are you at? Megan? All right, we've lost Megan Black. We'll get her back on the phone in a moment. Neil, what's happening where you are?
I'm here now.
All right, Megan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here at 6th and Stewart, and I am looking south on 6th Avenue, and I can see that the riot police are staging right there. They're a block away from us at this point in time. The tank, the armored tank is there. They are lining up like they did earlier up on Pine Street as they were charging up toward Capitol Hill. It's only a matter of moments, I can believe, until they start charging this crowd here. There are still about several hundred people. They are not dispersing. They are not hovered around the bonfire anymore. They are looting the Starbucks. They are stealing pounds of coffee right in front of us. And they are just continuing to be very unruly. Again, there are probably 50 to 75 police officers. They are staging right now. I am watching them line up in formation. And they are armed with tear gas, and they've got the armored tanks behind them.
All right, Megan, thanks. Well, I do want to tell our viewers, we are listening to Megan Black, who is downtown near the Westin Hotel. Our camera position right now, about the only thing we have active that we can give you as far as our pictures, is the situation at Capitol Hill, just across the Pine Street overpass at Interstate 5. We are trying right now to get a camera into position to show you what is happening in downtown Seattle, where our Megan Black has been on the phone describing the situation for you. But again, it's on a couple of fronts. Down by the Westin Hotel. Earlier in the day, it was over by the Convention Center. Still earlier, it was down near the Pike Place Market. Capitol Hill is being affected.
The anchors at the KIRO in Seattle laying it out for you. Trouble on a couple of fronts in Seattle. The 6th and Stewart location of the Starbucks that's being looted right now in this area, which you're seeing right now, which is east of the downtown core. Still a group of demonstrators that refuses to disperse there.
And you heard the police now have moved in some armored carriers. They say it looks like some action is imminent as far as arrests. We are going to take a quick break. Keep it right here on KOIN TV. We'll be right back.
Have a good day, sweetheart.
Have a good day, sweetheart.
On December 17th,
he shows characteristics like creativity, friendship.
You're invited.
It is a household appliance.
To look beneath the skin of a robot.
I saw the inner me.
And discover the heart of a man.
I am trying to make something of myself.
Robin Williams.
How's it going?
Bicentennial Man. Rated PG. Starts Friday, December 17th.
When Emily was born, I had never even been in the same room with a baby. Having a baby completely changes your perspective. Lee came down with this stomach thing, and I, of course, got Emily. Suddenly, I'm doing it all. I couldn't bring Emily near Lee. The bed was pretty much off limits.
Now, when you need things really clean, there's a detergent that sanitizes. New Tide with bleach, the only detergent that kills 99.9% of bacteria.
That first time Emily smiled at me was pretty amazing. That's a smile that she only gives to her father.
KOIN.
KOIN salutes Hart's Nursery, Oregon's largest greenhouse grower, as the sponsor of our Dig It Gardening Report.
These plants are my passion. I make sure they get the best care possible. At Hart's, we put special nutrients in our soil mix so that when you buy our plants, all you have to do is add water. Family-owned and operated, Hart's Nursery has 4 generations of experience growing to the head of their class. Look for the Hart's Nursery tag at your favorite retail or garden center and get to the heart of the garden.
How do we help seniors who need prescription drug coverage? In Washington, Democrats and Republicans are supporting exciting new plans that provide prescription drug coverage for seniors who need it without pushing millions of seniors into a big government plan. But Congresswoman Darlene Hooley is playing politics, supporting a bill that may sound good, but doesn't help seniors get prescription coverage. So call Hooley, tell her to stop playing politics and work for real bipartisan solutions.
Basic over glasses at Blind Faith tomorrow on KOIN 6 News at 5.
Welcome back, everybody, and you're looking at a live picture right now.
Let's listen in where this is in downtown Seattle to our sister affiliate, KIRO.
Leaving the Starbucks store alone at this point in time, but then again, the majority of the windows have been broken out. They've been ransacked inside, and the coffee, people are stealing pounds of coffee and all of this. So you know that they don't have any great purpose other than just to cause destruction.
Well, they're doing quite a good job at that, the videotape we're seeing. The police, again, standing nearby at the Westin Hotel. Not sure when, if or when they are preparing to move, but again, this was videotape. We have to be careful of the audio on this tape. This is all unedited, and so there's a good deal of language on here that may be all right for the streets, but not all right for your living room. Yes, Megan, go ahead.
They are now making the announcement. The police, the Seattle Police Department. Your presence in the intersection is a direct violation of the curfew. We ask your cooperation to evacuate the area. And you can hear the protesters behind me are basically saying in your face and rushing up closer toward the police at this point in time. Every time the police have made this kind of announcement, they have followed it with a charge and the firing of tear gas.
And that is there at 6th and Stewart, but still no one has been arrested yet, Megan, right?
At this point in time, the police officers have not even approached this scene, so no one has been arrested. They have stayed at least a block and a half away, watching everything unfold, as you mentioned, standing guard outside the Westin and on several other street corners. Now they are staging about 50 to 75 of them a block to the south of Stewart, so at 6th and Union, 6th and Olive at this point in time. They just made the announcement that the protesters are in direct violation of the curfew, and they have asked them to evacuate. Again, every time they have done this before, they have followed it with the firing of tear gas and a police charge.
Again, we're looking at videotape, raw videotape, well, we were a moment ago, of vandalism there at the Starbucks right near where Megan is located. Again, we go to that tape. This is raw and edited. You see people unabashedly taking coffee bags and throwing them out the window at the people outside. And a toaster.
We continue to get information sporadically now as to what is going to happen next, but just be it known that it is now almost 7:30. That's a half an hour into the curfew here in downtown Seattle. So these protesters, demonstrators, whatever their mission is, they are in violation of the civil emergency that's been declared. Police, again, showing restraint, staying back, telling everyone, asking them to evacuate. The next time, the ask will probably be a little less civil as police will begin to move in at some point. But there you see the pictures. This, the downtown Starbucks store near the Westin Hotel, a complete and utter shamble.
See the safety glass all folded down that they have broken. And we've seen earlier tonight, it was as if all the glass stores had been notified probably several days ago to be prepared to come in should there be any broken windows. And they're replacing glass, and they're putting up plywood on a lot of storefronts just to protect. Megan Black?
Yes, Susan, I'm here. The police are beginning their march toward us right now. You can hear the protesters respond. The police are on the move. We can sit here and watch. The protesters are getting their gas masks on. They're putting towels and scarves up on their face. The police are moving very slowly at this point in time, trying to disperse the crowd. Again, they're asking for voluntary cooperation for people to evacuate the area. They are on a bullhorn right now telling the crowd to disperse or they will be arrested immediately. What they don't say is that they will be tear gassed before they are arrested if they do not leave the scene. Every time this has happened, the tear gas has effectively dispersed the crowds. It pushes them back further and further. I'm looking up just to the west now on Stewart Street. There's a whole nother line of riot police standing in formation. They're ready to charge the area. They have stopped about a third of a block from Stewart Street on 6th Avenue in their attack stance when they kind of crouch down with their clubs drawn. And they're in a staging pattern right there. They're trying to push. There's lots of media that is over by the Bank of America, the U-Park parking lot on 6th Avenue there. They're shoving them all to the side. Generally, they do that as they plan to make their march on the crowd.
Megan, I just want to tell our viewers, we are seeing pictures now of more police moving into the area. They are moving toward your location, we understand, and probably a dozen or so, and other officers still on the streets, and yet traffic moving through some of the downtown streets as though it were a normal evening. But go ahead.
In fact, just up there on Olive, there's traffic moving through. The SWAT team had to wait for traffic to clear for them to make their move towards Stewart Street, north on 6th Avenue. Once again, I am looking to the west now, to the water on Stewart Street, and I can see at least 75 police officers in SWAT gear with billy clubs and riot gear on, waiting to make a march. Now, okay, an officer just gave a signal, and the police now are lining up at this point in time, like they do when they make their charge that you saw earlier today. Telling us this is not the story is corporate greed. But I hate to tell them that when they destroy public property and when they defy public law, that becomes the story. They are basically standing around. They've moved about a half a block away at this point in time, and they're taunting police at this point, but they have moved back some.
Once again, the police are on the move slowly. From our pictures that we're seeing right now, you're not seeing what Megan is describing. Again, we are trying to get a camera in position, but because so many streets are closed by police in certain areas of town, it's tough to get a camera in position and to get a microwave signal out. But you are seeing, I believe that might be 4th Avenue looking northbound. I'm not exactly sure, but the lights of the streets. Yes, Megan, go ahead.
There's tear gas actually pepper spray being fired, and there's a confrontation with protesters and police right now. Okay, they are going right now northbound on 6th Street. They are turning east on Stewart, west on Stewart, and they are proceeding down to get everyone to evacuate the area at this point in time. So far, they have pepper sprayed one protester who went up the line and basically got in the face of the police officers.
So, Megan, at this point, they're not looking to arrest. They're just looking to continue to move, to push the group out.
Absolutely. They are basically, even the one person that refused to leave, they just sprayed him right in the face. I see him doubled over right now in the middle of the street, but it didn't seem to have a whole lot of impact. Now the police are pushing the same man north on 6th Avenue. And what they're doing is what they did before. They want to disperse the crowd. They don't want anyone to get hurt. They don't want any more protesting, any more destruction, any more violence. They want people to obey the curfew and leave the streets of Seattle. And basically, they are forcing that to happen right now as we slowly march down the street.
As these protesters march and are pushed by police, any more destruction of property, any more breaking windows or anything, Megan?
No, they're not. In fact, this crowd is much, shall I say, less brazen than the others. They are dispersing quite rapidly. Sorry. That just exploded very close to me. I'm underneath a protected, covered area at this point in time, but they're starting to tear gas everyone right now, as you can hear. The crowd is spread out. As you know, this area down here where that McDonald's, it splits off into several different directions. And that causes problems for police because there aren't enough of them to follow the crowd. So as the crowd begins to splinter, they have more trouble trying to control the crowd and contain the crowd. And so they're just slowly marching down through the streets. An officer's about ready to approach me, and I have nowhere to go.
Explain what you're doing. Tell him calmly.
We're live on KIRO TV right now. I'm leaving the area. They want me out of the protected area. So I'm going to leave right now and move down the street toward the protesters. Unfortunately,
all right, again, just a few minutes ago, Megan, we are looking again at the pictures that you and your crew were able to get a bit earlier. That is the breaking into of the Starbucks restaurant. Again, the breaking of glass, throwing out of merchandise from inside the store. That, again, a short time ago. Those protesters now are being moved. And once again, Megan, if you can, as you're on the move, tell us what direction police are forcing the demonstrators.
Right now, they are going.
Okay, once again, our continuing live coverage of what's happening in Seattle. Absolutely incredible pictures, including the looting of a Starbucks store.
More of these live pictures in just a moment.
Sweetheart.
Have a good day, sweetheart.
On December 17th,
he shows characteristics like creativity, friendship.
You're invited.
It is a household appliance.
To look beneath the skin of a robot.
I saw the inner me.
And discover the heart of a man.
I am trying to make something of myself.
Robin Williams.
How's it going?
Bicentennial Man. Rated PG. Starts Friday, December 17th.
When Emily was born, I had never even been in the same room with a baby. Having a baby completely changes your perspective. Lee came down with this stomach thing, and I, of course, got Emily. Suddenly, I'm doing it all. I couldn't bring Emily near Lee. The bed was pretty much off limits.
Now, when you need things really clean, there's a detergent that sanitizes. New Tide with bleach, the only detergent that kills 99.9% of bacteria.
That first time Emily smiled at me was pretty amazing. That's a smile that she only gives to her father.
KOIN salutes Hearts Nursery, Oregon's largest greenhouse grower, as the sponsor of our Dig It Gardening Report.
These plants are my passion. I make sure they get the best care possible. At Hearts, we put special nutrients in our soil mix so that when you buy our plants, all you have to do is add water. Family-owned and operated, Hearts Nursery has 4 generations of experience growing to the head of their class. Look for the Hearts Nursery tag at your favorite retail or garden center and get to the heart of the garden.
How do we help seniors who need prescription drug coverage? In Washington, Democrats and Republicans are supporting exciting new plans that provide prescription drug coverage for seniors who need it without pushing millions of seniors into a big government plan. But Congresswoman Darlene Hooley is playing politics, supporting a bill that may sound good but doesn't help seniors get prescription coverage. So call Hooley, tell her to stop playing politics and work for real bipartisan solutions.
Basic over glasses. Is it blind faith? Tomorrow on KOIN 6 News at 5.
Well, this was supposed to be Seattle's shining moment, the start of the World Trade Organization conference there tomorrow. Protests there all day today, continuing into the night, despite the declaration of a curfew about 38 minutes ago it was supposed to have taken effect.
And you're looking at a live picture. Police now using tear gas again to clear the streets. They're warning the protesters. Let's listen in to KIRO Television from Seattle.
Smoke wafting up from the dumpsters that were burning a short time ago. The police now are in position. They have secured that location at 6th and Stewart, but the damage has been done in the area, as we showed you, to the Starbucks coffee store just a few moments ago.
You see some of the buses there are buses that parked earlier in the day, and we understand some of the protesters got on top of the buses, slashed some of the tires, or let the air out. I'm not sure exactly how. Early, and of course the bus transportation was completely canceled in the downtown area late this afternoon and into the night. So no one is getting around on buses anywhere in downtown.
Those who are moving, as you see, one thing that's moving is a dumpster. Somebody's moving dumpsters out of the street now in an attempt to open 6th Avenue up to traffic. You see the traffic moving the other direction. Dumpsters being put back into the alleyways whence they came. The garbage inside long since either thrown at police officers earlier today or burned in the middle of the street.
We might add that this area is surrounded by office buildings as well. People work here all through the day, sometimes late into the night. And if you are expecting a friend or a loved one, you should know that all the buildings have been cleared for people to leave as they see fit. No one can get back into any buildings downtown right now unless they have access cards to get back in. And we're talking about all the big buildings, IBM, the 1 and 2 Union Square, the Rainier Tower, Rainier Square, Puget Sound Plaza, the Skinner Building, so forth and so on. So you can expect that people who have been waiting until things calm down after the curfew are probably going to be beginning to leave those buildings.
We see police on horseback. We see police vehicles in the area and officers standing by in riot gear at the ready. They have secured, for the time being at least, this location now in downtown Seattle. Once again, we should tell you we are more than a half an hour into the curfew, the civil emergency that has been declared by Governor Gary Locke, requested by Mayor Paul Schell, the Chief of Police Norm Stamper. They have requested the National Guard. They will be arriving soon. The State Patrol has been in evidence not only along the freeways, but in the city as well. There has been other help from jurisdictions in and around the Puget Sound region. Here is the curfew once again from Denny in the north to Yesler in the south.
Okay, Jeff Gino along with Mark Hendricks. We were watching KIRO Television. We just lost the signal temporarily, but to bring you up to date, the curfew took effect about 40 minutes ago at 7 o'clock. They're clearing a large section of downtown. Some of the protesters refused to leave, and you saw the videotape of some of those protesters who were going in and smashing and vandalizing the Starbucks store in 6th and Stewart, in that area around the Westin Hotel, if you're familiar with Seattle.
That's been just one of many areas that have been vandalized. There was a McDonald's hit earlier. Somebody sprayed the words Barbie Kills on a toy store window full of Barbie dolls. A lot of things happening in downtown Seattle. Jeff and I were just talking about the potential economic impact of this, and it's going to be staggering. Let's go back to KIRO's coverage. Okay, we're going to see their pictures apparently, but we'll have to narrate from this end. This is just one of 2 confrontations going on. Sorry, this is tape recorded from earlier. This was the confrontation in downtown Seattle a little bit earlier tonight. Again, a lot of vandalism. I mentioned the McDonald's. You saw the Starbucks. FAO Schwartz in downtown Seattle was vandalized. A Joan and David shoe store, U.S. Bank. They've been targeting especially the multinational corporations that have branches in downtown Seattle. This now a live picture.
Yeah, we're looking at live pictures right now, and you see the riot police right there with their helmets on, and they are apparently lining different streets around the area. And here's the problem at this hour. It is curfew time. That means if you're in that area, you are subject to arrest. If you've been following this throughout the night, you know that even some reporters were told to leave. You listen to those reporters live describe what was happening as they're being ushered off the street. Police are warning protesters. They're firing tear gas. And the next logical step is they're scheduled to move in for arrest.
And we've been waiting for that to happen. Now, some people have been arrested. In fact, at last word, the number was 22 people. Seattle's mayor, Paul Schell, declared a civil emergency. The governor, Gary Locke, ordered 2 task forces of unarmed National Guard personnel who will patrol Seattle streets, but they're not scheduled to be on the streets until sometime tomorrow morning. Now, about 1 o'clock in the morning, another interesting element falls into this mix, and that is the arrival of President Clinton. At last word, he is still scheduled to arrive in downtown Seattle in the early morning hours and go to a hotel right in the middle of all this.
Now, President Clinton has gone on record as saying he supports the WTO, the things that the World Trade Organization stands for. At the same time, he says he supports everything that the protesters are protesting. So if there's a middle of the road to take on this, the president has definitely taken it, saying he supports both sides in this and supports their right to protest. Obviously, everyone is against some of the violence we have seen on live television tonight. You've heard the Seattle anchors and reporters express that same concern that while there's some legitimate protesters out there, there is nothing legitimate about people smashing and vandalizing businesses and property. And those pictures spoke for themselves. The pictures of protesters throwing coffee out of a Starbucks, smashing windows, and basically causing thousands of dollars in damages.
You know, the president made those comments about supporting the protesters, supporting what was being done downtown during the peaceful protest that we profiled earlier on the 5 and 6 o'clock news today. He didn't have anything to say, or has not had anything to say since all of this began this evening. Again, we're now about 45 minutes after the declaration of an emergency in downtown Portland and the setting of a curfew. We still haven't seen any sign of police actually moving in and making an arrest there.
Okay, let's go back right now to some video. And this was the Starbucks. This happened, what, Mark, about a half hour ago?
Right.
And this was at 6th and Stewart near the Westin Hotel. And this is a Starbucks store there. And look what starts happening. Protesters start storming the Starbucks. And there's plenty of television cameras there. You have to ask yourself, when all this is settled out, we've got plenty of pictures of the people that caused the damage in all of this. And watch what starts to happen.
They are destroying public property, and they are defying police orders.
That's the voice of Megan Black of KIRO Television describing that. She was right next to this as it was occurring. We mentioned that Starbucks, a big multinational corporation, one of many targeted in downtown Seattle. You're right, Jeff. They do have pictures of all of these people, as they do of a lot of people who've taken part in this demonstration tonight. There are so many people, though, in this. At one estimate, 5,000 people involved in this activity tonight. You got to wonder how effective police are going to be in arresting those.
Look at these protesters. Once again, this is about a half hour ago, 40 minutes ago. They're throwing machines and coffee, this woman here, and you have to ask yourself, that's a criminal offense, what she's doing. And she does it in front of news cameras right there, and safe to say, I'm sure this tape later could definitely be used as evidence.
Okay, we're going to join Real TV in progress. We will, of course, continue to monitor events in Seattle. We'll let you know if and when the crowd disperses there, and we'll have a complete report tonight on our newscast at 11 o'clock. Now to our regular programming.